Today we're taking a look at the Promethean LP1 from Lead and Steel. Let's get into the first 30-second breakdown. That's where in the first 30 seconds, give or take, I give you guys my exact thoughts on this product before we get into the full review. That way you can just stop watching because now you know exactly what I think about this product, or you continue watching and find out why I say those things in more detail, and it does help out with the YouTube algorithm. So the Promethean LP1, this is a red dot, not a holographic, just to get that completely out of the way right off the rip because there always is some confusion with that. This has 8 brightness settings. It has a 65 MOA circle and a 2 MOA dot in the middle, and you have 3 different reticle choices. You have just the dot, the circle dot, and just the circle for like a CQB or a shotgun reticle. It uses one CR123A battery here on the side compartment that it says with just the circle and the dot, you have 60,000 hours of battery life. And if you use just the 2 MOA dot, you're looking at 150,000 hours of battery life. And that is on the medium setting. This is a feature called the Aurora Wake, which is basically shake awake, but it is patent pending because the 65 MOA dot is the only thing that disappears and leaves that center dot on at all times. That way it's just a fail safe. If for some reason the feature shorts out and doesn't work, you at least always have that dot there to work if you are using this in a purpose-driven role. It has a QD point here, 2 very tactile buttons for up and down. You have night vision settings, and I might have already mentioned that. It's very important, night vision. It does have night vision settings, it does work. The durability is gonna be one of the most important things. If I didn't mention that, it's gonna sound weird because now I just said that I mentioned it, but I feel like I already mentioned it. But it might have been on an edit where I edited it out because I say things and I edit it, and then so I'm getting off track. This is the 30-second breakdown. It's supposed to be quick. The durability is going to be one of your most important things, especially for a new optic, and if you're going to look for something for purpose-driven and duty-driven. So this has an aluminum body. The housing itself is aluminum, and then it has an aluminum shroud over that. So your aluminum body is out of 70-75. Your aluminum shroud is 60-61 aluminum. So it's a little more durable there on the side, and this is actually removable, and you can replace it. So if you drop it, it crumples because it does have crumple spots on here. You can remove it off and put a new one on and cover it back up as long as nothing else was damaged. This does have a lifetime warranty and a very large field of view. And the cons, obviously, one of the biggest being is it's very large optics. So if you don't like large optics, or if you're putting this on a smaller gun, it kind of overtakes things and it looks like a mailbox on there. And the fact that it's brand new. So it's kind of hard to say, yes, this is past the test of time because it hasn't, because it's brand new. So you have to do things to try to test it, which we did some durability testing. And it did well. There's actually a video here if you're interested in the full video. I'll show you guys some here as well. But it did well during the durability testing that I did. Now let's get into my relationship with Lead and Steel. They did send me this optic along with the new one as well. So this is the older style. This does not have the Aurora Wake feature. When they came out with a new one, I requested to have that one for the review so I could test it out, and they were very nice to send me a second unit, especially since I did durability testing on this one. So I wanted to have a different one, which just actually handled the durability testing really, really well. As you can tell, this is after we did durability testing. So I thought we were gonna ding it a little bit more, but we didn't, let's just get right into that. Let's get right into the durability of this, because I think that's one of the most important things, because when you have a brand new optic, the things that you can do is either test it for a really long period of time, or the test of time to where, you know, you have like your aim points where it's like, okay, they've been around for years and they've been proven. You don't have that with a new optic. Or what you could do is do some practical durability testing, and that's what we did. Again, we have a full review video on it if you want to watch that, or you can just watch this because I'm going to give you a really quick synopsis of what actually happened. So we did really light shock tests, passed those with flying colors. We did a submerged test where we dunked it in water, passed that. We did some light dropping on just a woods floor, and it passed that. And then we dropped it on a stump twice. The very last drop that we did shook it up a little bit and did get some shifting. Somehow the last 3 shots were back into the circle, which was kind of weird. We had some shifting around and then it went right back to zeroed. So you can make your own decision based off of what you think off that video. The B-roll will be showing you guys the different tests that we did in the grouping. But it did handle the initial tests very well. And I didn't want to destroy the optic, wasn't the goal of this test. I wanted to do practical testing. I don't think you're gonna catapult your gun into a tree. If you guys are interested in those testing, I can do that, but I like to do more practical testing like drops, shocks, and water. The things that you are actually going to do if you're using this in a purpose-driven or a duty-driven. If you're at work with this, you're not gonna chuck it and run it over in your car 16 times and drag it behind a truck. But what you might do is pull it out of your cruiser and drop it on the ground and then pick it back up and go. So that's kind of what we went with to decide how durable it was. So again, it looks-wise, as you can tell, it passed that with flying colors. I have no cracks, cuts, damage really at all to the shroud. There's a little ding right there maybe that took the paint off, but other than that, the shroud handled it very well, which kept the inside housing safe, which is the entire design with this. Now they added crumple zones in here, and I'm not an engineer and I didn't design this, nor do I know where the crumple zones are, but kind of with a car, when you get in an accident, it's designed to crumple in certain spots. They did the same thing with this. So when you drop it, it's designed to crumple a certain way to not cause more damage. So that's pretty cool. I think that was a nice little feature that they added. And what's cool is you can just take this off if this causes too much damage, and then you can just put a new shroud on top, which is much more cheap than buying an entire new optic. So you can just change the shroud if you need to, if you've for some reason dropped it and there's a big dent in it and you don't like the look of it. For me, I really don't care if there's a giant dent in it as long as my optic is true and still working just fine. But for those of you that like to have it looking as pristine as possible, you can replace the shroud. So now let's jump right into the reticle. If you're familiar with Holosun, you're gonna be really familiar with this reticle. It's got the dot with a ring around it. It's a 2 MOA and a 65 MOA, and then you can change it to 3 different settings. So just the dot and then just the 65 MOA circle. I'd never use just the 65 MOA circle, but it's there as an option, so why not have it in there? Battery life for this, from what they say, is significant. So your dot with a 65 MOA circle is 60,000 hours, and your just dot is 150,000 hours. Tons of time, but if you're rotating your batteries normally, you'll never have to have an issue with most optics. And that is on the medium setting. So if you have it higher, it's obviously gonna be a lot lower. And they have this really cool feature called the Aurora Wig. Let me grab this gun, because this is the one that has it. So this is, I mean, I switch it like there's anything different, like you can tell. They're the exact same optic. One just has a Aurora Wig. So there's a very big divide between people that are like, I want shake awake, and people that say, I don't want shake awake. I'm kind of on the side of, I don't want shake awake. And my reason being is I don't need more features in this that could possibly go wrong. If I'm using this as a duty driven optic, I want as little things that could possibly go wrong in there, because what could happen will happen. And I've ran into this issue before, and I would rather have less features. Now, what Lead and Steel did to go around this, which kind of puts me back on the side of, okay, I think this Aurora Wake is a really, really cool feature, is what they did is they shake awaked only like 70% of the optic, which is super cool. So they just took the 65 MOA circle away. So you're saving battery life, but you still always have the red dot on. So your 2 MOA dot will stay on with this Aurora Wake, and your 65 MOA dot or circle will go away after 5 minutes. So you save a ton of battery and you still have that dot on. So I think that is a really cool feature that they implemented in here, and I'm totally okay with adding that in that sense, because if it goes wrong, you still always have the dot. So if for some reason you pick this up and it didn't sense that you actually picked your gun up and you go to shoulder it and do whatever you were gonna do, at least you have that dot. The 65 MOA circle won't be around it, but at least you have something to work with. But that is the Aurora Wake feature that you may have heard of. I feel like that is something that deserves some time and description, opposed to just saying, oh yeah, it's shake awake, because it's not. It's shake awake, but better. It's shake awake on steroids. And I think a lot of people are gonna take advantage of this if they have these multi-reticle features. And I think people should, because it is a really cool feature to have the ability to drop the reticle and save that battery life if it's sitting for a long period of time or in a vehicle overnight, and then always have that 2 MOA dot, which boasts 150,000 hours of battery life, which is crazy. But again, it's medium battery settings, so it's still gonna be lower if you raise it higher. So you have 8 different brightness settings, and 2 of those are night vision, so you can run this under night vision if you would like to. The buttons are very tactile, and I like that. They have a nice click to it, they have a nice feel to it, so you know when you're actually pressing them. They're large, they're spaced out enough, so if you have gloved fingers, you can use them. I do like the fact that they have a click, which I'll show you. A couple other things I want to mention is the QD point that comes factory, which is cool. I like having the ability to rotate this and put it on different guns if you want to, as long as the QD point is solid, which in my experience, I have noticed that it seems to be a very solid QD. And then the fact that it has a lifetime warranty. So they do obviously trust their own product, saying that they will have a lifetime warranty on it. So that is nice to see that the company at least backs their product. Price-wise, this optic is coming at $350 to $375, depending which features you choose. So I think that is a very comparable price to other optics in this range. I would say after this has a name for itself, and potentially over a year or so, everyone's like, okay, this is a really solid optic. The price might go up, and I could see that happening, but for right now, $350 to $375 is a very good price. Now for the downsides. Really the only ones that I've been able to find are the fact that it is very large. You have more mailbox style. If you don't like large optics, you might not really like this. But on the flip side, you have a wide field of view, which is cool. And you have a lot of durability because it's a little bit bigger to be able to be more chunky and be able to survive falls or shock absorption. So it's a give or take. That's going to be kind of a personal thing. And then the fact that it is brand new and there just isn't enough time behind this. So the things that I said, this has a lot of really good features and has a ton of potential to be a really good optic. And I could see this being something a lot of people use in the future, as long as it continues to hold true to the testing and the more rounds people put through these. So as of right now, in the time of filming this video, this is a really solid optic, and I've had really good luck with both of these and the durability test and everything I've done. And I will continue to test these and keep you guys updated. What I will say is, anything can change, and it's hard to say without having something for a really, really long time. Like, absolutely, this is better than this. I would say this is the better version of this or this. It is very comparable to like your Hollow Sun or your a Leupold LCO. It has that really same design and style, and I think it's a cool style. So as long as it continues to perform well, then it's going to compete really well with those optics. I don't really like to compare it with an EOTech because it's not a holographic, it's a red dot. So I compare it to more of the more red dot brothers and sisters that it has, which are those optics. But it does have that EOTech-esque look to it, which I think that is why mainly people compare the two. So the last thing I wanted to mention, and I think is really important with companies, especially companies that are new and coming from a startup, is the fact that lead and steel listens. So I was testing this one for a while with this setup, and as you guys know, I use my Unity tactical mounts quite a bit. And one thing I noticed is the height on this is a little lower than the other optics, like your EOTechs or your Vortex Hueys. So I told them about that, and I said, you know, hey, this sits a little bit lower. They said, yeah, they designed it that way just to be a little bit lower is what they wanted. And after discussing a little bit further, they actually decided to change the height to be a little bit higher to now line up with your Unity mounts. Is that going to affect a lot of people? Probably not, but it's cool that they listened. When I was kind of giving them constructive criticism, they decided to change that height. So that is cool, and that is something that will be coming here soon. The other feature, when people were mentioning like we would like to have a Shake Awake, they then designed the Aurora Wake and put it in there and then kept people really updated. So it's really cool to have companies that listen and then try to implement these things to make them better. They didn't just throw this thing out here and said, this is what you get, this is what we got. They actually are listening and saying, okay, we're gonna improve this. So I really like to see that, and it's not like, okay, we're gonna improve this, but 3 years down the road, now they improve it. They're actually listening and actively trying to improve it. So I think if they keep that mindset and they keep doing that, then they're gonna have really good success with that, because say down the road, 6 months down the road, someone has an issue and they continue to do quick action and actually fix the problem, then they should be able to mold and make this into a really, really solid optic. So I hope this video was able to help you make a better decision if this is an optic you would like to go with, or maybe you would like to pass. Hopefully the things that I said will make you decide like, yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for, or like maybe I'll wait a little bit, or that's not really what I want because some of the things I mentioned in this video. That is always my goal, is to help you guys make a better purchase decision with your money, because I understand it's very hard earned money. You guys do a lot of work to get that, and I don't want to see you just throw it away and then be like, this stinks, and then throw it and put it in the bench and never use it again. I want you to purchase and be like, this is exactly what I was looking for, or put that money towards something else that you were looking for. If you guys are interested in helping out the channel, the things I do here, there's a couple ways to do that down in the description. There are some discount codes from companies that I trust that could help you save some money, and there's a link to my link tree. From there, it's like Premier Body Armor, Palmetto State Armory, Brownells. Anything you purchase using those links does help out the channel, and I really appreciate that and the support, because it does get expensive testing all these firearms and optics and products, because I like to at least get 1,000 rounds, so it does take a lot of time and money, so I appreciate the support, and that does help a ton. Other than that, the companies that support me and the things I do are Howitzer, Brownells, and Hold Up Display. Howitzer donates 5% of proceeds to charity. They make great clothes. I wear all their stuff. I actually have their shoes I just got. I've been wearing those, and a couple pair of jeans I need to get hemmed. But they also collaborated with this new t-shirt with me, which is really cool. And then Brownells, you can use code TA10 to save 10% on orders, $150 or more. And I could not do any of this stuff without them. They support me a ton, and I appreciate them. And then make sure you take advantage of that discount code, because you can save a lot of money on your builds and projects. And Hold Up Displays, they make these mounts, which are super cool, and I appreciate them. I'm continuing to add on to the room and the vault, so I'll keep you guys updated with that. Other than that, thank you guys so much, and I appreciate you all.